speed doesn't lie. Going 200 miles an hour around a track and then having to brake and make a corner, it's very, very exciting. I'm Jordan Szoke, and it's time for your weekly race report on BIKER TV. This week we're talking about flat track and what we're all going to be one day, vintage. We're going to talk about some of the vintage guys, how I've been a part of that a very long time. But first, let's get to the flat track series. Obviously, this year's champion, Don Taylor, awesome rider, very talented guy. I've spent a lot of time with these flat track guys on the ice over the years. I've learned a lot chasing them around. We've had a lot of fun together. They're used to riding close. I was just out last week with Doug Beatty, who's a past champion in flat track. Steve Beatty, legendary flat track rider. Him and I actually came together on the ice this year. He tipped over, broke his collarbone. Sorry, Steve. And yeah, all a great bunch of ice riders. Flat tracking is very cool, very exciting. It's probably one of the most cost-effective ways to go motorcycle racing. It's just very cool for the fans. You get to see the whole track at once. They basically race around a horse track. You sit there and see everything happen, all the action in front of you, almost like a NASCAR race. There's always some exciting spills and great passes. So flat track, very talented bunch of guys, very competitive. Obviously, got to plug the guys out there, keep the sport alive. We have the Wellington County Motorcycle Club, we have the Leamington guys, keeping these guys safe and competitive and the racing spirit alive. My hat's off to them out there. Get out, support them, check it out. It's cheap to watch and it's exciting. Check it out. Here we are talking about the VRA, Vintage Road Racing Association. These guys are older than dirt. I've known them all my whole life. That's where I started. Believe it or not, my first big bike race, other than being on a little YSR 50s and stuff like that, was a 450 Honda. Vintage racing, you gotta learn somewhere. And it's also very affordable and a lot of fun. Vintage guys are very hospitable and it's just a giant family atmosphere. Doesn't have the pressure that the modern racing has. Don't kid yourself, these guys are fast and they still want to win, but the atmosphere is much more laid back, and they go to all the great tracks around just like we do. They're at Mosport and it's just awesome. My dad's raced vintage, racing for a long time. I've been a part of it. The guys there, Peter Shepard, keeping it alive. Believe it or not, the first superbike I competed on in the modern era is now eligible for a vintage class. So there's a wide variety of classes you can ride. Too many to go through. Chances are if you have a motorcycle at home and it's not brand new, you'll be able to race it there, and it's a lot of fun and cheap to do. So for those of you at home that think motocross is just motocross and you have to put your bike away at the end of the year, I got some good news for you. What I do in the winter for my training is ice riding and ice racing. It's been around forever. It was one of the first things I ever did on a motorcycle was ice race, and it's the perfect training for any sport of motorsports, because when you go out on the ice and you learn how to slide a motorcycle around, and it gives you such a great control over what's happening when you go back into the dirt, back into the pavement. We're seeing more motocross guys come out in the winter with us and train. It's not about just hitting the triple or pinning it through the whoops. There's corners out there too that you have to fly through, and it really teaches you that. Here we do, myself and all my friends, we do left and right, full road course ice racing. Back in the day it used to be only oval like the flat track, but we do left and rights, and go out there and use your imagination in the ice and plow off the snow in any way you want, any shape of track you want. And it's a great deal of fun. I've also been out west with my motocross bike in the winter and put tracks on it and rode it like a snowmobile in the mountains. So you get a lot more use of a motocross bike nowadays, and you don't have to put it away for the winter.